Hello everyone, great to have you on the channel here of Meteomark Weather. Welcome everyone. So we have a lot to talk about here in the tropics. We are going to be watching our big area of concern across the western, northwestern Caribbean into the south central Gulf of Mexico and eventually, potentially, a very large area of the Gulf of Mexico. So this is going to get a little bit more complicated, and we're also going to be watching other areas out in here in the tropics. The Middle Atlantic as well as the Cape Verde season is really going to begin to heat up in a big way. Let's get into it. All right, so looking at the tropics here, starting off with the European model, and we'll progress over to the GFS momentarily. So here we go. We got a couple systems out here in the Central Atlantic. Yeah, they could actually develop into something. So far, it looks like they're going to remain out into the open Atlantic. But our big story is going to be this area of low pressure that spins up here across the western and central part of the Caribbean. And that is going to spin northward here. It's going to help propel moisture from the Pacific as well. Here it is on the 21st, so just a couple days from now, into the 22nd here. You can start to see evidence of this big surge of tropical moisture. Now you see lots of moisture over here like a conveyor belt into the eastern Pacific. This is where things really start to come together. Right around the 22nd here into the 23rd, we start to see that convection really start to take shape here. Just around Honduras, Nicaragua, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Belize, and the Yucatan. So yeah, I know a lot of you said Belize has been really nice and clear, but that's going to be changing here as we get into next week. Look at this. Yeah, this low pressure really gets cranking. So far, it looks like the worst is going to stay west of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, but that still means you're going to get those eastern feeder bands, and that is not the best of news. So watch out. You could still get some gusty winds, heavy rains with this. And then look at what happens here as we get into the 25th. The European has been very insistent in taking this low pressure westward because we have a lot of high pressure building in to the north here, and it's going to help force this system more westerly. Now, it will cross the Yucatan the 25th here and reemerge into the Bay of Campeche here. And this is where things really come together. There's going to be a lot of ingredients, high sea surface temperatures, as well as the possibility of very low wind shear in this environment. And you can see as we get into the 27th, the 28th, this is why I'm saying it's anybody's game in the Gulf of Mexico here. We have a very broad area of low pressure. Texas, Florida, southeast coast. Please stay tuned because this is going to be quite... We're going to be watching this for a long time. And our last frame here, you can see on the 29th at 8 a.m., shows it as a developing hurricane into the western Gulf. This far out, the margin of error can be great. So we have to keep a very close watch on this. And you notice something too. A lot of tropical moisture is streaming up to the northeast here. We do have a trough, and that trough could actually help this hurricane intensify and draw it more towards the northeast here. So we have to keep an eye still on the eastern Gulf. So this is why it's anybody's game from Texas to Florida and the southeast coast, even all the way up the east coast, if this wants to make a run up the coast, if this trough stalls and pushes it to the northeast. And don't forget, before we dive into more model action here, if you like the video and you've made it this far, smash that like button. It really does help everyone. Question or comment down below. I love to read your questions or comments. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe bell notification button so you're alerted with all my future weather video updates. Let's continue. And take a look at the GFS here. Yeah, this run has switched a little bit further to the east. It's actually going the opposite direction of the European models. We head into... Let's just back this up a bit. So here we go, 21st, 22nd. You can see the evolution of this storm. Very big, large areas of heavy rain developing here on the 22nd. So later in the weekend, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, really going to start to see those heavier downpours kicking up here. And then here we go. As we get into the 23rd at 2 p.m., you can see lots of moisture north of Honduras here. And right around the Jamaica area, the GFS is putting a lot more heavier rain into Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. And then over towards Belize, the Yucatan, and Honduras and Nicaragua, we'll still see some heavy rain here. But here we go. this is what's happening here. The GFS is painting this trough is a bit more progressive, you can see, than the European model. Here it is on the 25th, drawing it more towards the north here. And here it goes, the 26th. This would be more in line with Florida. Here we go, intensifying this into a potential hurricane. This would be a bad scenario for Tampa here. Look at this. This is on the 26th, right into the Tampa Bay area, and then the 27th crossing over to Daytona Beach. So, you get this far out, don't focus on the point, focus on the fact that, the trends, this is what the trends are showing here, at least on the GFS model. Of course, the GFS model was way over here before, so there's going to be some bouncing around. But one thing's for sure, this may want to try to run up the coast as a hurricane here. Look at this, 986 millibar low. Let's see if we can get a few more frames in here. There we go. See that last 27th into the 28th here? It's going to be right off the Outer Banks here, according to the GFS. And this trough may, stall maybe even further to the west and allow this to ride up. So this is something we need to keep a very close watch on. This trough can't go that far east because look what we have up here, a big old blocking high. Now, as we get out here into the rest of the tropics, you can see not too much to talk about. We got these systems that are spinning out here that are going to be kind of fish storms. Until we get about the 26th, 27th, we do have a tropical wave that looks like it'll become a storm. There's that system that was showing up on the European model. That storm actually going to try to head, there it is, towards the Cape Verde Islands. So that's something we're going to have to keep very close watch on as we go throughout the rest of the month into the beginning of October. So thanks for Tropical Tidbits here for our dry air analysis at mid and upper layers. There we got a pocket of dry air. But there's our intertropical convergence zone. It's going to be bouncing back to the north here with a lot more moisture. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, we got some moisture down here into the southwestern Caribbean, but we got all this dry air. This is going to get scoured out. Watch as we go out here in time. This is a GFS model, by the way. Look at this surge. We have two areas we're going to be watching. This area is our main area. That's going to be a tropical surge. Yeah, we still have dry air out ahead of it. Look at this Cape Verde wave as we head into the 22nd here. And we just continue to go out here in time through the 25th here on our GFS. Look at this big blob of moisture as well as the Cape Verde Islands. All right, so our European model showing a very similar picture here. Lots of dry air around, but watch what happens here as we head through Sunday the 22nd into the 23rd, into the 24th. Look what's happening here. There's our big moisture surge, thanks to a lot of moisture from the Eastern Pacific as well, helping spin up this low here into the Western Caribbean. Watch the Cape Verde Islands here. European takes a little bit longer to spin that up, but there it is through the Cape Verde Islands. And look at this here into the southwestern Gulf. That really gets cranking, and you can see the influence. That big old cutoff low up here that can't go anywhere. High pressure blocking to the northeast with this trough that's going to help start to steer this storm in the direction of the Eastern Gulf. And something always good to look at here is the wind shear analysis. Yeah, we don't have a lot of wind shear down here into the southern and western Caribbean. Even out here in the Cape Verde Islands, let's just put this into motion. Look at this. Even the Gulf we start to scour. Look at this. We're pushing all this wind shear way up to the north here. So this is all that anticyclonic flow we're getting with those high pressure systems. That's going to actually help our system develop. And look at this. You start to see these wind vortices here that feed into this low pressure. There is one coming off the Cape Verde Islands as well. And look at that. Yeah, that is very low wind shear as we head into the southwestern Gulf as we go out here in time. So we're going to be watching for that. We do start to get this wind shear from the southern and southeastern part of the United States. This is not till the 29th, however, and it won't be until this system starts to get pulled to the northeast towards the coast that it'll start to get into a more wind shear environment. Sea surface temperatures are definitely supportive of this storm from the western Caribbean, southwestern Gulf, and even through much of the Gulf here. Look at this, though. The MDR from the Cape Verde Islands all the way westward towards the eastern Caribbean. Caribbean. Plenty of warm water to work with. So taking a look quickly at the CFS weekly model, and we'll go into the CANSIPS momentarily. There it is across the Western Caribbean. That pushes into the Gulf. As we get into next week, you can see the MDR really opening up here with the Cape Verde season really taking shape as we head into the first part of October here. This is through October 10th. You can see where these precipitation anomalies are really going to set up. So there is some concern, the Caribbean and the Eastern Gulf and off the southeast U.S. coast. This is going to continue to be the hotbed as we head through mid-October, and there is late October. And then as we get into the last part of October, and that's our last one here. And here's our CANSIPS model. This has just come out for October. Yeah, look at Eastern Gulf, Southeast Coast. There's the concern, but the big area is the Caribbean. Look at the Cape Verde season as well. Still going to see some big, strong Cape Verde waves into the first half of October. Then things start to shift a little bit to the south. Still cannot roll out named storms through this area into November. And do I dare even say December? We could still be looking at some of these Central American countries and Southern Caribbean islands still looking at the potential threat for some named storms. So getting into the Caribbean here, let's just back that up there. So yeah, as we head through Saturday and Sunday, not too much. Central America really starting to get affected by that Eastern Pacific moisture, but that is going to feed into our potential system here. Yeah, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, you'll likely see 70 to 100 millimeters, especially early next week as we get those eastern feeder bands with the system developing. But yeah, it looks like this system's going to start developing and then move into this region. And then you really start to see it take hold here across the Western Gulf. Many of these areas in Central America will be getting inundated with 100 to as much as 150 plus inches of rain. That's going to bring those rainfall totals to 4 to 8 inches pretty easily. And looking over to the Bahamas, the Eastern Caribbean here, it looks pretty dry through Sunday here in the Lesser Antilles up to Puerto Rico, maybe some showers into Haiti as well. But look at that, the Bahamas, yeah, you'll get some additional amounts of 35 to 50 millimeters here, about an inch or so on average. But then we start to see towards the end of the month, look at this surge of moisture. We're going to open up the Cape Verde season here, and we're going to start to get those 60 to 100 millimeters of rainfall here as we get towards the end of the month. So the Caribbean islands need to really start paying close attention to these these eastern waves that are coming through the Cape Verde Islands. And looking out to the Western Pacific here, we are looking at Tropical Depression Pulasan here. Yeah, this has been with us for a while here, and it's just off the coast of a very populated area here, Shanghai. So here's what's going to be happening over the next 24 to 36 hours. Lots of heavy rain in the Shanghai area, and then it's going to reemerge, and I have some bad news here for you in South Korea and Japan here. This is going to re-intensify to a moderate tropical storm, thankfully not a typhoon, but it's going to be making landfall here in South Korea right around the 21st here, so right around 2 a.m. So watch as this intensifies as it moves to the northeast here. There it is on the 21st at 2 a.m. and then on its way to Japan, the center of circulation, by the 21st. So it's going to be booking it. Still, the concern is for heavy rain in areas that are typhoon stricken here. And then when we get into the 22nd, look how things dry out nicely from Seoul all the way to Tokyo here. That's, and Shanghai as well. But look what starts to really happen here. So we just rewind this a bit. We can see the northern Philippines and Taiwan and Southeast Asia here just being inundated with tremendous amounts of tropical downpours. It's being initiated by this low that's literally just stationary and just meandering around here south of Hong Kong. And that's going to take most of the moisture up here across Southeast Asia. So it looks like the models are getting a better grasp that this is going to be maybe a little more progressive, thankfully, by the time we get to the 25th. Still some bad news here for the northern Philippines and central Philippines. Still some more heavy rain coming your way as we get into the 26th, into the 27th. But look at this. Yeah, as we get through the end of the month here, don't see any large-scale areas of typhoon action, but still just a lot of monsoon-type rain setting up. Now, I wanted to show you the rainfall amounts. They're looking a little bit better here, but yeah, look at South Korea. Wow, over to northern, it's mainly going to be northern Japan and then Southeast Asia here. Looks like the Philippines are looking a little bit better, but look how close that heavy rain is. Northern Vietnam, extreme South China here. There is North or South Korea. That's where 100, 150 millimeters up to northern Japan. So all these areas in the yellow to darker orange, 100 to 200 millimeters. That's easily 4, 8, almost upwards of 10 plus inches of rainfall. So looking at the NAM 3 kilometer here, there's not too much weather to talk about in the near term, although look at, we're being clipped here in Cape Cod by this area of low pressure. That's going to continue even up to Nova Scotia here. Look at this. We got a little circulation out here. It's not really tropical, but it's going to continue to funnel some moisture out of the northeast here. So this is the 20th at 9 a.m. We get into TGIF Friday here. We also have some showers down here across South Florida, and the Bahamas are getting inundated here. So as we just put this out into time, you can see what's going to be happening. We got a few areas of concern. We got some showers and thunderstorm action from Indiana to Michigan here. Look at how it's pretty well clear here from eastern Ohio up into the northeast. But look at this. You could actually get some showers in the Boston area as we get the evening rush hours. We head into Friday, but a lot of this won't reach the ground in some areas. So got to keep an eye on this. There's some dry air moving in from the northwest. It'll be like a battleground. But look at that. Another surge, unfortunately, 10 a.m. Look at this. We're moving some rainfall in. And look at this. This is quite interesting. We do have a little disturbance back here across parts of eastern Ohio. This is 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. So let's just back this up just a hair. That's coming through the Cleveland area right around sunrise there, 6 a.m. And look at that, through Erie and Pittsburgh and Buffalo through noon, and that pivots to the southeast towards Harrisburg. So we could actually have some shower and thunderstorm action in some of these areas. It's not going to be widespread, but it will be there. And we have a system organizing here across the Four Corners region, heading out into the western plains here. So we might have to start watching out for some severe weather out this way. And all eyes are going to be on the Gulf as we see what happens with our tropical system over the next 7 to 10 days. All right, so synoptic weather, picking up where our HRRR future radar left off. As we get into kick off the weekend here, 21st, look what's going on here. Yeah, we have an interesting inverted trough kind of action with the disturbance going on here. So we may have some scattered showers here across parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, but it's not going to really amount to anything. The big show is going to be over here into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley as we get into the 22nd here. So later on in the weekend, you see those storms moving towards Cleveland. This is 8 a.m. This is actually on Monday morning, so it's going to wait till Monday, which is some good news. You're going to eke out a pretty good weekend here in much of the Ohio Valley and Eastern Great Lakes. But as we get into Monday and into Tuesday, you can see what's happening here. This low pressure system's kind of just cutting off. So we got a very weak front moving through. So we're going to have scattered showers for the most part. And our next system is starting to intensify here across western Texas. So we're going to have to watch out for that. And look at how this low just cuts off across the eastern Great Lakes. We'll be watching for this to potentially try to form. It looks like it's trying to form secondary low development here. This is like a, look at this. So we have this low that's kind of out here north of Bermuda, and we have this inverted trough kind of kicking in here. So it could be the focal point of some rain. And you knew rain was eventually coming in the Northeast because we've had such a stretch of sunny, nice, late summer-like weather. And look at that. That low just cuts off for the 27th, 28th. And this is the same trough that could potentially take our Gulf hurricane up to the northeast here. All right, so let's take a look at our rainfall amounts here. We're going to be watching this as we head into, say, the weekend here. Yeah, there's some shower action coming in for later Saturday here across parts of, there it is, early Saturday, eastern Ohio, maybe up to a tenth to a quarter inch. And they're into the parts of New York and Pennsylvania there, especially central sections. You could have some shower and thunderstorm action. Look at Cape Cod here getting clipped with potentially 2 to as much as 3.5 inches of rain. That's not going to make it too far inland here, but look at this. As we head into next week, we have that unsettled weather really starting to kick in from the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and Northeast. Some areas could get 2 to 4 inches out of this, but all eyes are going to be on the Gulf as this moisture starts funneling towards the Florida Panhandle to the northeast here, upwards of 3.5 to as much as 8 inches of rain. So looking at our Canadian weather here, let's see what's going on as we head into the weekend here. You can see the eastern part of Canada. There is not much happening here. It's very dry. We have this system here in Manitoba, a big one moving on shore here in British Columbia, so we'll have to keep watch on that. So yeah, there's quite a bit of activity out in the central and western areas. Here we get into the 22nd. You can see this cold front trailing to the south here from Hudson Bay. So we may have some shower and thunder shower action, mainly shower action across Ontario. And that's going to be blasting in some cooler air, cooler high pressure system, kind of clearing out here into the Rockies and the central provinces plains here. But it looks like southern Ontario and Quebec could actually see some rainfall here. This is actually some very good news. You need the rain. So look at that. As we get into the 25th, into the 26th, that area of low pressure just cuts off, and we are going to end up with some beneficial rain here across the southeastern part of Canada, even towards New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. The rest of Canada, with the exception for a massive 986 millibar low moving ashore here in British Columbia on the 27th, most of Canada is being dominated by high pressure. And look at that. That low just cuts off here. Our last frame is on the 29th, blocking high to the northeast here. And let's see, Canadian precipitation here, mainly in the west coast here and central sections as we head through Monday and then all the way through the end of the month here. That's when we really start to get some good rain here across parts of Ontario and Quebec. Some of these areas could get upwards of 70 to 100 millimeters, 2.5 to 4 inches. Look at western British Columbia, though. That's where you're going to see 100 to maybe as much as 200 millimeters. That's going to get you on the order of 4 to 8 inches. So watch out. And before we continue with more weather, check out these awesome, amazing maps that you won't find anywhere else.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MediaMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
So let's look at our temperatures here. Yeah, it's going to be, look at that, 90s all the way up to southern Ohio, 80s up into the eastern Great Lakes and northeast. Look at how cool it is out west with that unsettled weather. But look at this, yeah, we start to really see those 60s. It's going to start to erode this heat. Look at this, 90s, and then we have 80s, and then we're held down into the 60s in eastern New England as we head into Saturday. Look what starts to happen here. We start to squeeze this warm air. It's really starting to lose its luster, so to speak, as we get into Sunday. And look at this, Monday, the 23rd here of September. Yeah, we're starting to get those cooler readings here into the Northeast, upper 60s in interior parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Still holding on to some of these upper 80s and lower 90s. Look at this. We got a cooler pocket here into North Carolina, held down into the 70s. But watch this cooler air really start to pivot to the southeast. We're squeezing it to the north here and the Midwest. Lots of 60s for highs as we get into next week. We don't have Wednesday. Extended forecast from our hometown viewers, being into the Grand Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. As we get through Friday here, it's just beautiful. If you have a 3-day weekend, really enjoy it because look at that. Sunny in the lower 80s into Saturday. We do have a chance of mainly scattered showers. They're later in the day, particularly between 3 and 10 p.m. Don't let it ruin your outdoor plans. It's going to be partly sunny. Look at that. Sunday, it clears off nice. It's cooler, though, into the mid-70s. And Monday, the clouds start rolling in. we'll struggle to make it to 70, and then look at that, we drop into the upper 60s with a more unsettled weather pattern setting in with scattered showers each day. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of Meteor Mark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at Meteor Mark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteorMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks everyone, share that video, subscribe if you haven't, smash that like button.